On the front lines of open terrain, tension is palpable with every breath. Through the lens of a Ukrainian FPV drone, a dramatic moment unfolds. Two Russian soldiers are seen running frantically across open terrain, their steps faltering, as if aware of imminent death. They move hastily, ducking, trying to find cover in the sparse bushes that can never truly protect them. From above, the drone's electronic eyes lock on their movements, like a predator waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Above the skies of battle, the drone's cockpit camera clearly captures every moment of panic as the two soldiers duck and run for cover. As they approach the bushes, any chance of survival is lost. In the final seconds, both nearly reach their hiding place, but that hope is instantly shattered. The FPV drone zooms low, crashing into the air with deadly speed. The explosion shatters the silence, the ground trembles, and black smoke billows, engulfing the bodies of those who tried in vain to hide. As the dust slowly settled, the only scene left was silence. Two Russian soldiers lay lifeless, sprawled in the grass that failed to protect them. Running away in the open without cover is no longer just a feat of bravery. It is the face of modern warfare in Ukraine. The field is no longer just empty space, but a hunting ground where precision technology closes every gap for survival. From the skies, Ukrainian FPV drones continue to hunt, ensuring that every enemy step in the open could end tragically with a single hit. On 20th August, from the Pokrovsk direction, the Azov Army Corps has taken up full operational control over stabilizing the Russian breakthrough at Pokrovsk. With the situation reaching critical levels and threatening to overturn a year of Ukraine's fortification work, Azov and its battalions are immediately getting to work on smashing the Russian salient back across the river. As Russians took Ukrainians by surprise, they broke through 18 kilometers deep behind the Ukrainian front line and penetrated through Ukraine's new Donbas defense line while it was unmanned. As the reality of the situation got through to the Ukrainian High Command, they acted quickly and redeployed Ukraine's 1st National Guard Army Corps, led by the famed Azov Brigade at its head. The Russian salient is deep but narrow, enough so that it could be pincered, cut off from reinforcements, and destroyed if the Azov Corps was up to the task. The recently redeployed forces immediately got to work, as the first step was to prevent the Russians from expanding their salient, allowing them to entrench and threaten Ukrainian logistics further on an operational scale. Open-source military analysts show that the 1st Da Vinci Assault Regiment attacked the Russian breakthrough head-on, and during the first day of clashes, they were able to blunt the spearhead and push the Russians back to Zoloty Kolodies. Recent reports from various Russian, Ukrainian, and Western military analysts now show that they conducted a follow-up operation the next day and pushed Russians out of the settlement and are overrunning Russian positions up to 4 kilometers below, recapturing the new Donbas defense line in the process. Further south along the thin Russian salient, elements of the Azov Brigade launched rapid counterattacks on the Russians' left flank, as the 93rd Mechanized Brigade assaulted the Russians from the east. Satellite data shows numerous impact craters of Russian aviation glide bombs all over both sides of the salient, the locations of which indicate the Ukrainian attack was very successful and resulted in the capture of Kutuzivka, with prominent Russian and Ukrainian sources noting Ukrainians have fully encircled the Russians in 2 separate pockets. Possibly realizing their goals were becoming too ambitious, Russians attempted an offshoot maneuver between Rodinsky and Belitska, hoping to at least achieve an operational encirclement of Pokrovsk as their larger breakthrough was faltering. However, Azov quickly responded to this maneuver as well, rapidly cutting off the Russian axis of advance and eliminating dozens of Russian soldiers. Command of the Azov units reports that in the past several days of fighting, the 1st Army Corps has eliminated 271 Russian soldiers, wounded over 101, and has taken 13 Russian men as prisoners of war. Geolocated combat footage shows Ukrainian drones dropping grenades on Russian soldiers in fields and captured Ukrainian-made fortifications, fiber optic FPVs eliminating Russians in houses and around the settlements, and 4 young Russian men having been taken prisoner after immediately surrendering to Ukrainian forces once the counterattacks commenced. Notably, while Russians have crossed the Kazeny-Torets River, they did not take control of any major river crossings or a particularly wide base to transfer manpower and logistics over. Therefore, Russian sources report that Ukraine's highly mobile drone detachments have now focused their fire on the base of the Russian salient at the river. Russian analysts note they have completely lost control over this area, as Ukrainians have now officially and effectively cut off the Russian breakthrough through drone fire control, without having to expend any manpower to conduct a physical counterattack. Notably, Ukrainians were then able to physically move into Nikhanorivka and Nove Sakove, with the rest of the area being returned to the gray zone and under tight Ukrainian drone control. Overall, Ukrainians have curbed the immediate threat of the Russian Dobropilya breakthrough and completed the encirclement of an estimated 800 Russian soldiers, hundreds of whom have already been eliminated in the fighting of the past few days. The Azov Army Corps' decisive actions have been highly successful, blunting the Russian spearhead, pushing Russian forces away from critical supply lines, dismantling additional attempts to branch out, encircling Russians in several pockets with little cover to hide. Most importantly, clearing Russians out of the new Donbass defense line, eliminating the operational-level threat posed by the Russian salient only days earlier. Now, Ukrainians are poised to finish the job, to completely destroy what remains of the already brutalized Russian soldiers.